Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different, and that means we're going to go ahead and build a portable power station using a 48 volt golf cart right there and all this junk I have sitting on my workbench that I kind of just found throughout the house. Alright, so the battery I'm going to use is the one I just reviewed, and this is this one from Ausk. It is a 48 volt 105 amp hour lithium iron phosphate golf cart battery. As you can see, I took off the RS485 controller, that monitor. I also don't have the battery charger wired up to it either. This is just the battery. And I'm kind of pretending that, let's just say I took this straight out of my golf cart and I wanted to leave my charger and my monitor still attached. So I just took the battery out and put it on here. This two-wheel dolly I bought this from Amazon. It was pretty cheap. I want to say it was like $60 or $70. And I want to say it holds up to like 500 or 600 pounds. So I'm hoping that will work. I also intended to get one that has pneumatic tires, so that way they're a little bit softer, because I'm actually going to put this thing into use after I build it to see if it can actually do the things that I want. And one of those things is going to be trying to get this thing up my basement stairs. So we'll see if that even happens. But first, we need to start putting stuff on here and wiring it all together. And let me kind of show you what I have on my bench. First, the brains of the operation is going to be this EcoWorthy. This is a 3,500 watt pure sine wave inverter charger all-in-one unit. You can connect solar panels to it. We're going to be connecting the battery to it right here. This is going to be the AC out, and this is going to be the AC in. It also comes with like a Bluetooth dongle. It actually has communication ports, but this golf cart battery does not have any kind of communication ports, so we won't be using those. And it also comes with like these kind of old style parallel port. They're actually serial ports, but they're for paralleling multiples of these units, and we won't be using that either. So what we'll be doing is we'll be charging the battery from here. We'll be using the battery energy from here. We'll be connecting the battery here, and honestly, I'm not even going to bother connecting up any solar panels, because this is going to be kind of like an emergency cart. I'm not going to be charging it with solar. It's going to be, I can use it for a little bit if the power's out, and then I plan on plugging it back in the wall when the power comes back on. All right, some of the other things I have a couple of clamps right here, because I'm going to be bolting this piece of wood onto this cart. So that way I can hang that inverter charger from it. And then I'll be using some of these straps to strap down the inverter charger, and I will be using a strap to hold this battery in place, because again, I want to try to roll this up and down some stairs, and I don't want the whole thing to just fall apart. Some other things I have are some battery cables that go from the inverter charger to the battery, and then I have this orange extension cord, which I'm going to be putting on this this male plug right here, so that way I can use this extension cord to plug into the wall to charge it. And I will go ahead and program this so it will only charge at like 10 amps, because this cord, it's only a 16 gauge cord, so it can only handle like 10 to 13 amps of AC power, which is 120 volts. And then I also have this receptacle right here with a box. I'll be putting it in this box. And I have some NEMA 12.2 right here, which I will be wiring that stuff up so I actually have an outlet to work with. Mind you, I can only pull about 1,700 to 1,800 watts out of this outlet safely. So I won't be able to use the entire 3,500 watts of output from this, but I'm totally fine with that. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to get this piece of wood, and I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to put those clamps on here and here, so that way it doesn't shift around. And most of the weight is going to be pushing it forward anyway, so I think it's going to be pretty secure. And so here's my 2x4. I'm just going to slide it right here. Kind of make it so it's a little straight. And then I'm going to put these hose clamps in. And these are only 1/2 inch hose clamps, and I probably should use like 3/4 inch or something, because these are a little small, but I think they'll work just fine. That's a great start. How about we do some pilot holes instead? All right, now that I got my board fastened to my dolly, I'm gonna go ahead and measure out where I need to screw in some screws to the wood to hang this. I think the easiest way to do it is to just grab some tape, just like this painter's tape right here, and I'm just go ahead and stretch it across. Kind of like that, and then just poke a couple of holes in it where I want to drill. And then hopefully I can just transfer it over to here. Actually, I want to make it lower than these brackets. So let's just do it here and here. I think that right there would be just fine. Looks relatively straight. And of course, you know, after you say it's relatively straight, it's totally not. There we go. Again, drill some pilot holes. All right, and then we'll just screw in a couple of screws, a little bit in. All right, kind of like that, and we'll see if that actually, if these screws are long enough to hang this. Oh, look at that! Wow, I actually measured that out almost perfectly. And these are 2-inch screws. I should actually use like 2.5. I've got 3.5 inch, but these would be way too long and they would go all the way through the 2x4 and I'd have to like grind them down or something. I don't want to have to worry about that. And also, this is just kind of for stabilization. I'm gonna go ahead and put a ratchet strap around this as well, so that will better keep it in place. All right, now that I got the inverter charger in place kind of where I want it to relative to the battery, I can go ahead and kind of just put my wiring on here. I'm not going to hook it all up because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this thing off and wire it all up on my bench, and then I can just hang it back. But I do want to see kind of where the wiring is going to go. So let's go ahead and do that now. First, the conductors that go from the charger to the battery. They're going to go through right here. And these are actually the cables that came with this EcoWorthy, so hopefully they're long enough. Because I honestly don't want to custom cut any cables if I don't have to. But it looks like it'll probably go to about here. And then, yeah, see these, well, I could do the positive on this side and the negative on this side, and they would wrap around. And actually that would work pretty good. I might actually just kind of go like this, or do them both on the side like that. I don't like the idea of the cables, but they're not going to be long enough. If I was going to make a custom cut, I would make everything go towards the back. But then the positive would go over, like right next to the negative. I don't like that either. So I think I'm just going to have them off to the side. And there will be a chance of like a pinch factor right here, but I'm just gonna have to live with it. Here's the box for my AC outlet right here. And you know what? I would really like this to, I don't know where to really put this. I mean, I could just screw it right here and run the wiring down like this and kind of loop it and then have it come back up. And then just kind of drill into the back. Even though this is like a new construction, I mean, it's supposed to go into drywall, but I don't have any kind of drywall or anything like that. But I do want to fix it to something. So I might just probably just screw it in right here and then run the wiring down and then up. So I think that will be just fine. And I'm not going to cut this at all. I'm just going to have it looping like this. And I'll probably actually send it like around the back or something like that. So that way I can strap it down so it's not, so it's actually secure. So my wire management is sufficient. And then this orange cord is going to be my charging cable, you know, and this is just going to be, I'm just going to wire this plug onto here, and this will just go into the charging. And again, this is a very, you know, it's a very floppy cord. I'll just need to make sure and put something. So it'll be up here. I'll probably strap it to right here again, along with the AC outlet. And then probably just bring the cord up, you know, and have it resting, or, you know, have it wrapped around somewhere. You know, just something like this. So it'll be like that, and then it'll be in the back and come you know, through like that. So that's kind of my plan. So I'm going to take this inverter off, put it on my bench, and start cutting wires and putting them in the inverter charger. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get this plate off so I can access all the connections. And this eco-worthy inverter charger only has 2 screws. And we'll go ahead and just put those back here. And this thing should just slide right off. There we go. All right, just to give you a quick look on the inside, we have our AC in right here, which is our ground, our line, and our neutral. And then we have our AC out, which is our line, our neutral, and our ground. Right here is a fan and another fan. Down here, you can see that is our battery connection right there. And then right here, we have our PV connections, or our solar panel connections, but we're not going to be using those at all. So we'll just be connecting our battery here. We'll be connecting our AC out here and our AC in here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to connect my positive and my negatives to the connections inside the eco-worthy. Okay, I've got the negative and the positive connections attached to the inverter charger. So let's go ahead and move on to the, how about the AC out? And for that, like I said before, I'm just gonna go ahead and feed this wire into this box, and then I'm gonna connect it to this outlet right here. And then the other side, I will go ahead and put into this little slot, and I will screw it down into the line, neutral, and ground. All right, this is done. All right, now I got my battery and my AC out connected. So now the next thing I need to do is just connect up this extension cord by putting on this plug here. And then the other side, I'll go ahead and strip it out. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and just connect some ferrules to it so it's a nice solid connection. I don't have a bunch of like random strands sticking out everywhere. So let me go ahead and strip this, put this plug on, put the ferrules on, and get it connected. And since this extension cord is 16 gauge wire on the inside, My little ferrule chart tells me that I'm going to be using these black ones right here, which are for 16 gauge wire. And all you do is just put your ferrule right on the wire so it covers it like that. Get your crimper. And crimp it on. And it should look just like that. All right, I got my ferrules on, so let's go ahead and put it in the Ecoworthy. And then we're just going to kind of line them up, so it's going to be ground, line, and neutral. Go ahead and tighten them all down so they're nice and snug. All right, give them a quick pull. They should not move or shake out. All right, I believe our Ecoworthy inverter charger is all wired up. We have our AC in, which is our ground, line, and neutral. We have our AC out, which is our line, neutral, and ground. And then we have our battery connectors right there, which is positive and negative. Let's go ahead and screw our faceplate right back on. All right, and now we are ready to hang this back on our dolly and connect it up. All right, be careful not to touch any of the, step on any of the wires and just hang it on there. There we go. And now I'm gonna go ahead and ratchet strap this thing on so it doesn't move. And then I'll probably go ahead and just ratchet strap the battery too, so everything's secured to the dolly. Well, I made the amateur mistake of screwing this into the box without actually screwing the box into here. So I need to loosen this up, screw this on here, and then tighten this back up. All right, I got my outlet screwed on now, and it is ready to go. I just need to finish securing the wire, but I'll do that once I test everything. So now I just need to connect the battery cables to the battery and turn on the unit and see if everything starts to work. Making sure my battery is turned off. Let's go ahead and connect the negative. And then the positive. All right, it's now the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on by first turning on the battery. Battery just clicked on. And then the inverter, the screen just clicked on. It's already set for lithium. It's counting the voltage as 53.4 volts. And the AC inverter is clicking in. And we are on standby. Let's go ahead and test our outlet. Set our function to AC voltage. I'm not getting any voltage. Let's see if we go directly to the... Oh. Do you see anything wrong here at all? Look at that. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure our probes are in our multimeter. And then let's try this again. And we are getting 120.1 volts. Perfect. That kind of had me worried for a second, but when this is just dangling, you're not going to get much of a good reading. Okay, so our AC outlet is working. Our inverter is connected to our battery, so it is working as well. The next thing I want to do is to see if it will actually start charging. And I want to make sure and set this so it only charges at 10 amps. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's set on utility, which is perfect since I'm not doing any solar. Yes, I want to keep it at CUB. That means mains priority charging. When the mains charging fails, the PV will start charging. But again, I'm not going to have anything connected to that. So let's move on. All right, number 7. Max charging current, and that is set at 80 amps. I want to move that to, well, that is the main charging current. That is the AC charging and the solar charging combined. Let's see if there is a charging current for just the AC. Max AC charging current. The default is 60 amps for the S series and 40 amps for the U series. That's number 28. So I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to go all the way down to 28. And it's set at 40 amps. I only want to charge it at 10 amps AC. So that would actually be, 10 amps AC is about 1200 watts. So if you take 1200 watts and you divide it by 51.2, 1200 divided by 51.2, you get 23 amps. So I want to charge it, I'll just say I'm going to charge it at 20 amps. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and test this charging cord right here. So let's just go ahead and plug it into the wall. And before I do that, let's go ahead and pull up the app for the battery so we can see what the charging rate is into the battery. Okay, so I'm plugging it in. Here we go. It's plugged in. Charger is kicking in. Charging light just lit up. And we are starting to get current. On the app, you can see on the current, it says 20.73. So it is charging at 20 amps, just exactly like I programmed it. And that equates to about 1150, 1120 watts, which is perfectly safe for this extension cord that I used. All right, well, I mean, this thing's charging. I think let's go ahead and try out the outlet real quick to make sure it works. Okay, I went ahead and switched the screen so it shows the input from the battery and the output from the battery. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug in this 1000-watt heat plate, and we'll see if that changes at all. So it is charging the battery and outputting a load of 7.4 amps at the same time. So it's working exactly the way I want. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, unplug it. I'm going to go ahead and put a plate on here so it's a little more safe, and and then I'll go ahead and strap all these wires down so they're good. And then we'll give this thing a true test. I was thinking about, well, first of all, I need to get it upstairs, which that could be a very stressful situation because this thing combined probably weighs about 130 to 140 pounds. And that's pretty heavy for trying to get this up the stairs. But yeah, I want to see if it could run an air conditioner, which it very much well should. I'm going to see if it can run, and then I will see if I can plug in my car, see if it can actually charge my EV. So I'll get this straightened out and we'll be ready to go. All right, and here is the final result. I just have my AC plug-in cord right here. I have my outlet with my cover on it. I have a little bit of wire management going down and looping back up so it won't pull on these connections right here. And then I have also, it's strapped, the battery cables are strapped right here loosely, and then the negative is strapped right here. This positive is just super unfortunate. For now, this will work just fine. So let's go ahead and try to get this thing upstairs. All right, full disclosure, it is like the next day. So it's been about, I don't know, probably 15 hours or so since I brought this upstairs. And I didn't want to record me actually bringing it up the stairs because I didn't want you to see my impending doom when that failed and I fell down the stairs to my death. Just kidding, but it did take a long time. So you can get it up the stairs with this, but you just have to take one stair at a time. Again, it's like 140 pounds. So 2 people minimum would be a good idea. And you can see down here, I actually have a little 12-volt system. It's a 2,000-watt inverter and a 165 amp battery from Red Audio. And this, I run this for like an hour every day from like 3 to 4, and it runs for like 5 days. So just to take a little bit of the heat out of the room before I get home from work, and it really works really well. So, and it's not even connected to solar, anything like that. All I do is just disconnect it, take it downstairs, charge it with my other solar stuff, and bring it back up, and it's ready to go. So the process works pretty well. And I'm able to do that by these little smart plugs. They actually work pretty well with AC units. Just go ahead and plug it in. All right, and let's turn the AC on. Now the compressor's kicked in, so we're powering 360 watts. Again, that is no big deal for this system. It says estimated time until empty is 16 hours and 26 minutes, pulling 356 watts. So a system like this can easily run an air conditioner, and it can easily run it overnight. All right, even though this thing is heavy, I must say, like, the straps are holding everything in place, and then the zip ties, I really don't have to worry about the cabling. If you were ever to do something like this, don't do this. Don't just hang your positive. First of all, you should have a fuse. If you're gonna have this as like more of a permanent situation, definitely fuse your positive. And then also do better wire management. Don't make this so it's a pinch hazard, because that could zap you if that got caught onto something and cut that wire. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and plug in this heater. Let's go ahead and turn it on. All right, the display is on, and on the app it doesn't show that we're drawing any power at all because the heat is not on. So let's go ahead and put it on low. And I believe the low is a 750 watt heater, and on high it's a 1500 watt heater. This is on low, so it looks like we're pulling right around 760 watts. And estimated time until empty is over 7 hours. So I could run a 750 watt heater for over 7 hours. So let me go ahead and put it on high. There we go, it's on high. And now you can see that it's generating almost 1500 watts. That's 28.5 amps, which again, no big deal for this setup right here. I mean, we're only running the inverter at less than half. The battery can handle 200 amps continuous. So 28 amps is no big deal for that battery. But look, I mean, it can handle it just fine. We are kind of getting to the upper limits of the outlet that I have set up, because the wiring on there should really only handle about 1800 watts. So I wouldn't want to plug something else in to that other receptacle on the outlet, especially if it draws a lot of power, because it would start to affect the wiring that I have for the outlet. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to see if I can roll this thing outside and charge up my car with this configuration. I don't know if this is has a neutral ground bond. It probably doesn't, so my car won't charge. So what I might do is just use a neutral ground plug and plug into the other receptacle on this outlet, just so it'll work. All right, full transparency again, I have never used this level 1 charging cord. I have a level 2 right over here, and that's what I usually use because it's so much more convenient. So I don't know if this requires a neutral ground bond, but that's what we're gonna find out. All right, it is flashing. Yeah, and I think those lights right there mean that it needs a neutral ground bond. All right, well, I found a neutral ground bond plug right here. I'll have a link to this in my description in case you want to look further into these. This is a temporary solution. Definitely do a proper neutral ground bond to your system, because I don't know how safe these are in the long run. So just keep that in mind. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in to the top here, and that should make it so it's bonded. And then I'm going to plug this on the bottom. And we'll see if it has an issue. And yeah, and now it doesn't. It has a green light and it thinks that everything is perfectly safe. So let's go ahead and plug in my car. I'm going to pull up the app so you can see it on the screen. And you know what? I'm just going to empty out this battery into my car, and I'll let you know how many miles I get out of the car. So let's go ahead and before I do all that, let's get in the car and we're going to see how many miles I have currently. I got in and it looks like I have 121 miles of range left. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my car, and I'm just going to let it run until it's completely empty, and we'll see how many miles I get out of it. All right, the car has accepted the charge, and we are now pulling, it looks like 1,000 watts, or right around 20 amps DC, or right around 8 amps AC. So I probably could push the car a little harder if I wanted to, but I'm just going to keep it at that. Because if we ran this, if we ran 1,000 watts, this battery should run out in about 5.5 to 6 hours. Yep, and that's what the estimated time says. 5 hours, 36 minutes. So that way I'm not stressing the unit. These level 1 chargers are not made to do quick charges on a car anyway. So I don't care how long it takes. So I'm just gonna let it run, and I'll come back out in like 5 hours and we'll see what's up. All right, it's now 4:40 and my portable power station here has shut off charging my car. So let's go ahead and find out how many miles I got from it. All right, and it looks like we now have 136 miles. So that battery pack gave me 15 miles. So if you were in a pinch, this could do you some good, but I wouldn't buy this whole setup right here just to be able to charge your car. It would definitely not be worth it. So if you have any questions about the Ausk Golf Cart battery or the EcoWorthy solar inverter charger, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to all the items that I used to build this cart in my description, just in case you want to look further into them. So thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye-bye.